Another day, another episode, another podcast for the universe, Energy is Love podcast. Thank you, everybody, for listening and tuning in. It's been a wonderful couple of weeks with this show. We've had a lot of fun. A lot of episodes have been going on and happening, which is really neat and exciting. We just wrapped up our first live episode at the Infinite Possibilities Higher Consciousness Festival, which was amazing, and it was just super fun. We had a blast. It was a great opportunity. A lot of people came out and watched, so it was really, really a good time. If you missed it, we will be releasing the audio version of that later down the road, but you can always go back to our Facebook page and watch it as it happens, so I encourage you to do so. Remember, you can find all of our information at energyislovepodcast.com. This episode is brought to you by As Above, So Below. As Above, So Below is a wonderful metaphysical shop located in Roy, Utah. So if you've never been, if you've never had the opportunity to stop in, I encourage you to do so. They have everything and anything and all of it. They've got everything that you need or want or desire to help you along the process and journey of your spiritual expansion and growth. We are excited because on June 4th, As Above, So Below is going to be hosting their Summer Witch Fest. It's going to be June 4th all day long. They're going to have readers, healers, psychics, everything at this event that you could possibly imagine, as well as it's held at the shop itself. So it's a good opportunity to come in and check out the store if you haven't. Because we had such a good time with the live episode, we are going to do another one, and it's going to be at this event at As Above, So Below. So hop over to our Facebook page. You're going to find all the links to their Facebook page, their events, all that kind of stuff. But also you'll see the event for that live episode that will be happening June 4th. You're going to be able to tune in and watch that event, that episode as well, happen at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So go to our Facebook page, go to our website, go anywhere that you possibly can to find the podcast, and then you will find all this information and be able to join us once again for another live episode at As Above, So Below on June 4th. This episode is also brought to you by Entheozen. Entheozen was founded in 2014 by Caitlin Thompson, a neurobiologist who was struggling with her own depression and anxiety. All of their products are designed for promoting optimal brain health as well as overall happiness. They have products tailored towards mood enhancement and stress support, as well as party recovery formulas. All of the ingredients in Entheozen products have been scientifically studied and contain premium active forms of vitamins and minerals to ensure bioavailability and maximum absorption. Entheozen also offers educational outreach workshops and programs designed to empower people to achieve and sustain mental wellness. You can find all of their products at entheozen.com. It's ENTHEOZEN, entheozen.com. If you go to Amazon and just search Entheozen, you'll be able to find them that way as well. Regardless, whether you go to check out on their website or through Amazon, make sure that you enter the promo code ENERGYIS. That's going to save you 10% on your purchase, so it's a great deal for podcast listeners. On today's episode, we have Jarrett Burns. So if you've never heard Jarrett before, I encourage you to go out, and we'll have links and all that kind of stuff. But you got to go out and hear his music. He's a musician and artist whose music is both beautiful and inspiring, but it's also incredibly deep and intuitive. His music is beautiful. He's got a great voice, obviously. He's an incredibly talented guy. My wife and I got the opportunity to watch Jarrett live recently, and it was absolutely amazing. So I felt very honored to get a chat with Jarrett. It was a great episode. He's a really interesting guy, and you can tell that not only when you listen to his music, but also in getting to chat with him and learn more about him. He's one of those guys that really thinks deeply and soulfully about all aspects of life. So he brought that through during the episode. It was a lot of fun. Go to jarrettburns.com, or you can find him on Facebook as well. If you just search Jarrett Burns Music, you'll be able to find his Facebook page. And of course, we've got links to all of that. But go find his music and listen to it. I guarantee you're going to love it. But for now, sit back, relax, turn it up, push play, enjoy this episode with Jarrett Burns. Here we go.
You're listening to the Energy is Love podcast.
Energy is love.
The Energy is the Love podcast.
The Energy is Love podcast.
Energy is love.
The Energy is Love podcast.
The podcast for the universe.
The Energy is Love podcast.
And that's it, man. Here we go. You ready?
Yes, let's do it.
Jarrett, I can't thank you enough. I'll tell a little bit of story real quick as far as kind of how I know you, and I don't know you. We just met officially in a sense, but last year. It was last, I don't remember when the hell it is. I think it was probably last May, almost about a year ago. It was the Infinite Possibilities Higher Consciousness Festival or whatever. It's Anna's event that she has up in Ogden that's outdoors. And you were performing. And my wife and I were there working. We had a booth, and my wife had gone off to do something, and she was coming back. And I remember I was sitting in our booth watching her. She was walking back to the booth, and you had just taken the stage, and you were up on stage. And you hadn't started singing yet. And she's walking, and then suddenly you start singing. And I watched her. She just stops in her tracks. Then she kind of turns around. And you can see that she's like listening. And then she walks and works her way back down and has a seat. And she watches you the rest of the time that you were there performing. So that's kind of how we originally, and I say we because my wife's the one that, typically she's the one that always turns me on to get stuff. And so that's how we originally kind of found you. And then obviously just recently, this past Monday, today's what, Saturday?
Yeah.
We went into that event that was in Salt Lake and got to see you perform live and everything like that. So thank you. Because, I mean, it's neat for me, right? It's neat for me to get to sit down and chat with you. And but that's kind of how I know you. That's how I came to find out about Jarrett Burns, the man.
Well, thank you very much for that very flattering story. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to stop people dead in their tracks. Make them listen.
Yeah, and you did. Like, she totally was sidetracked and busy, and she was on her way back to sit down at our booth, and she literally just stopped and like flipped her head around and turned and started listening, and you had her right from the get-go. So one of the things I want to ask you first and foremost, if I'm not mistaken, you're not originally from Utah, right?
I am not.
So where are you from?
I'm originally from Georgia, southern Georgia, born and raised. But this place feels like home. I was raised Mormon, so like a good Mormon boy, I went to BYU. And so I came out here when I was 18. But this place, the mountains and everything, it's really kind of cultivated me into the artist that I am today. So
it's a beautiful place, isn't it?
I love it. The people, all four seasons. There's a very good energy here, just like your show. There's just like a vibe here that I feel a part of, and it feels to be a part of my music as well.
I think Utah gets a bad rap sometimes.
Oh, absolutely. But that's going to evolve and change drastically, I feel, here in the next bit.
You think so?
Absolutely.
I think it already is to some extent. You know what I mean? Like, you think about, what was it recently in the last few years? It was like the mayor of Salt Lake. I think that they elected a Democratic
lesbian mayor. Like that's, Salt Lake is the city of blue and it's a sea of, it's a pool of blue in a red state.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot of there's just a lot of resource, really good people. I've been working in the nonprofit, looking into working within the nonprofit community here, and per capita, it's so robust here. There's just a lot of really good things trying to rise up to the surface and influence things in a very positive way.
Yeah, trying to happen.
Yeah.
You've been here since you were 18?
More or less, minus like a mini mission. Best 7 months of my life, for my life, in Lima, Peru, and then I spent a little over a year in Studio City, California.
Well, obviously in California, you're probably doing work, right? You were doing everything there.
Yeah, I was doing music. I've been doing music full time for the past like 6 or 7 years. So Utah somehow has just been a beautiful state for me to support me in doing what I do for a living. You
wouldn't think that necessarily on the outside when it comes to Utah.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a surprise, but I think there's so much room for growth here for the music community. Like the Salt Lake area supports national music acts really well. This is a really solid market for a lot of bands. But then there's a really high quality of like local talent. I really believe in the friends that I know and have. Like, I feel like there's just such a high quality of high caliber of talent mixed with like a high caliber of human being as well. So, and I think there deserves to be more attention here.
Yeah.
In fact, I've heard that the past 2 or 3 years, like the state with the most signed acts by major labels or labels with major distribution have been from the state of Utah.
Really?
Yep.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. something in the water.
There's definitely something in the water. That's probably why everybody has so many damn kids, but
For sure, amongst other things.
yeah. How long have you been, my guess is obviously you've probably been singing or performing in one way, shape, or form your whole life, right?
Yeah, more or less. When I look back, it feels like that. I'm very much an accidental. I didn't grow up thinking that I would be doing this for a living or even want to do this. I thought I would be doing something more traditional. I've always enjoyed learning, and I'm actually really obsessed with natural health and healing. I'm confused as to whether or not I'm a musician or a quack.
Yeah. What did you want to do when you were a kid? Like growing up, what did you imagine or picture yourself doing?
I actually said doctor for like the longest of time, but I think it's just one of those things like everyone says doctor, lawyer, firefighter.
Yeah.
That was the one that I elected, but as I got older, I always had a knack for music, and it came pretty naturally to me. I started taking classical piano at like around 11. Then I sang in like church, but I didn't really know my singing voice until, or even feel that I was a singer until I came here. I was raised in the Mormon church, and my particular experience, like I was raised very strangely for being an African American. I'm actually half African American, half Samoan. My mother's from Western Samoa, but being raised Mormon in Southern Baptist Georgia, I was just such a misfit.
It's definitely the minority.
Yeah, I was the minority of a minority of a minority. So just trying to fit in, but I never quite did. But when I went to Utah, I just strangely attracted all of these opportunities to sing, and I was kind of singled out because I was a person of color,
Mm-hmm.
and they are, and we are of we're just a rarity here in the state of Utah. And so I got cast as Simba in a production of The Lion King with the Young Ambassadors, and it just from there I got all these opportunities to sing and find my voice as a soloist.
Did you do a lot of musical theater back in the day?
No, I kind of owe quite a bit to musical theater because like when I came to BYU, I was almost thrown into this group called the Young Ambassadors,
Mm-hmm.
and they do musical theater, and it was actually my introduction to it. Like before that, I think I had seen Annie, and I fell asleep in it.
Yeah,
like, musical theater, it's still a mixed bag for me, but but performing it was really fun, and it really engaged me, and it gave me opportunities to like study vocal training and performing. So I'm really grateful to it for like kind of getting me into a particular aspect of music and more engaged.
Did you have a hard time performing? Like, did you ever go through that time period? Because I think anytime you try something new, obviously you're gonna have nerves and things like that. But performance in any way, shape, or form is always challenging, I think.
Yeah, I kind of feel like I think being raised Mormon, like you have to give talks as a little kid. I mean, if you have nerves and stuff, they just make you get over it. And that's a real like advantage and pro to the culture. That one of the things that I really appreciate about who I am and my upbringing. But with that kind of background, and then my natural take for music performance has always just kind of felt a little bit instinctual and natural for me.
Yeah.
So, though I'm not above having some nerves here and there just before, but it just makes you like push through and
Yeah.
keeps you.
There's a good level, I think, of it where you can use it to, like you said, kind of inspire and push you into that space as opposed to keeping you stuck.
For sure. Absolutely.
How have, like when you think about your music specifically, because we heard about you, well, we saw you perform then, and then we saw you perform recently, and there's something about not just your music, because you have a beautiful voice, obviously, and you have the type of music. I don't know how to describe this. And it's going to be weird sitting across from you at your table trying to describe this to you about how you sing, because obviously you know how you sing, but there's a thing about the way that you sing that connects to people. And for me, I know that like you hear anybody perform or sing or whatever, do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then something happens when somebody sings and they have something, and to quantify it, to explain it, to try to put it into words, it's really challenging. But there's sometimes when people sing that there's just something about their voice and about the way that they're projecting it, and the energy essentially at the end of the day that's behind it that resonates and connects with people. And I think you have that, whether you think you do or not, or whatever the case may be, but I think you have that quality.
Thank you.
Is that something that you ever had to, this is a dumbass question, because that's not something that you can like necessarily create. I think that's something that you're probably, instinctually born with to a certain extent.
Yeah, but in the same breath, it's still cultivated. Like there's this idea that, yeah, you either have it or you don't, and it's very much nurturing my nature. And I have nurtured my nature just by doing music full time. I've had gigs up in Park City where I'm singing 4 hours a night for 4 or 5 nights a week for several years. And it's really exploring myself and getting to know myself. And I feel like I sing in a way, I'm starting to understand what it is, but something that like, there's just a feeling of connection and interconnection. Like, I don't know, I'm very energetically sensitive. And so even when I'm writing my songs, like the way I write my music is I literally follow my goosebumps. I just know a lyric and a melody is right when the hairs stand up. And I just kind of, I don't know, I just live to like come from that space of like communicating like my own truth and beauty. And I think that.
So like how crazy spiritual hippie are you? Like, because I'm sitting, as you're describing it, I mean, like that's obviously super connected to the internal aspect of you and your flow of energy and your chakras and all this other kind of stuff that takes place. Like, do you go that far and that extreme with it?
If you'd ask my friends, they would probably say I'm pretty extreme. I am an alien. In fact, a psychic once told me that I have an alien soul. She told me about the planet that my soul is supposedly from, and you take it all with a grain of salt. But when she described the supposed culture of this place, she was basically describing me and all the things that I love and rep for higher learning. And she even explained why I have a stutter. Like, it's so weird. I am I'm totally going everywhere. What was your question?
I don't remember. So you're an alien from another planet.
Yeah, my soul. This is what she said, evolved primarily somewhere else, and that I came here to bring. And I think this is actually a really common thing. There's billions of souls on the planet now. Mm-hmm. And I think there are people coming from all over the cosmos, like with histories, with like, soul histories tied to other places, who are kind of bringing in a certain vibration to the planet to help it shift. That's what I think is happening, but take it all with a grain of salt. It's just love. Just energy and love.
Yeah. At the end of the day, right? Yeah. I mean, and when I learn about new concepts or ideas, or I have some reading or something like that, so with the psychic and they give you some piece of information, or I meditate and I get some chunk that's super out there and bizarre, typically I always, I like to go out there and experiment and explore and imagine all these different things that exist. But then at the end of the day, I bring that information back and try to look for ways that I can kind of incorporate it into every day, like kind of use it in a practical sense.
That's key. I think it just gets so lost if we're just all up here in our upper chakras, up in the clouds, which I can be. And I'm kind of getting into a space in my life where it's time for me to ground and root some of these like higher 4D, 5D things into 3D. And so that's like grounding and staying present and staying practical. What's the practical use for this knowledge that my soul is alien?
Yeah. Have you figured it out yet?
Really, more than anything, that like that particular reading just kind of gave me permission to like just be myself. Like I've expended so much energy trying to fit in and trying to be like this place, and I really just kind of feel like it just kind of gave me like a push to like, allow myself to go against the grain and like be against the grain. And for that alone, I'm grateful for whatever that was a practical application of that knowledge.
I think it's such human nature, and like on a very deep, like DNA almost level, where people want and have this desire to fit in, obviously, where we want to be accepted and kind of wrapped up within the community or the tribe or whatever the case may be. We just want acceptance and love at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. And I think it's important. I think it's one of those things that, like, you know, the reason I think we have that so ingrained within us is I think one of the reasons why this whole thing exists, this life, planet, experience, whatever we want to think of it or call it as, I think it is because of the relationships that we create with one another, and it's the connection that we have between people. And that's why it's ingrained in our DNA, in a sense, where we strive and yearn for that connection. But the way the world spins and the way everything works out and where society's at nowadays, I mean, it's really, really challenging and hard. And we have something that we want, and I'm rambling now too, but we have something that we want, that connection and acceptance and love from society. But then at the same time, we have a really hard time recognizing when it's there. We have a hard time connecting with it. Sometimes we're like in staunch opposition to it and we try to resist it. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. I'm actually in the process of, I'm working on this song right now. And right now I'm calling it Primal Wound. And it's just this idea, like somehow in our, like the collective human psyche, I believe we are dealt a blow where we feel a void. And then society is kind of set up to like give us all of these things to like try to fill that void. And it actually is perpetuated by, this wound is just comes from not feeling that core connection to all things. And so feeling disconnected, it basically comes from fear, scarcity, and separation. Like these are the three like ideas that are kind of underneath like most of our like systems. Our government are all built off of these like ideas, and so what everything we do kind of perpetuates those things: fear, scarcity, and separation. So the antidote to those things are really the opposite of those things, which would be love, connection. Haven't really thought this through, but
abundance.
And abundance. And so connecting to these truths, and you can see this out in nature. You know, everything's interconnected. Nothing has to try; it just has to be. And I think within nature, you find this like divine paradox of, because it's like, I think about snowflakes, or, you know, no two snowflakes are alike, yet they are the same. They're made of the same substance. So in the same way, we humans, we are the same, yet simultaneously we are each unique and different. And so allowing both of those things to exist simultaneously, and then just letting that be, and just so like coming from a natural place, and then naturally recognizing the interconnection of all things. We actually don't have to try, it just is. But we have all of these obstacles that are created through socialized thought that are just kind of put all these barriers in between like what just is. So I think we're in the process of like demolishing these, just these falsehoods. Yeah. Falsehoods of scarcity, fear, and separation.
So I get lost sometimes because I believe that we're always right where we're supposed to be. And I don't believe that there's accidents. I don't think that things happen, do you know what I mean, for some underlying hidden evil reason or something like that. I think everything just has a natural flow and is in that space of existence. And because of that, I think everything that exists is there for a reason to a certain extent. And it's never just one reason. There's always multiple reasons behind it. And so I struggle with this all the time because there's all of these concepts and ideas, especially like in spirituality and all this kind of stuff that we talk about a lot on the podcast, where you have to reconnect with nature and you have to, you know, disconnect from all the distractions that exist in our lives now and society, and really finding that quiet moment in that space. And I think it's incredibly important. But then at the same time, because the part that I struggle with is, but yet there's a reason why we have all of this stuff. Like there's a reason why, you know, life has spun in such a way to where now we are overly, you know, distracted in so many different ways, shapes, and forms, you know, on the various scales of mentally and emotionally and spiritually and physically. And we have all of these things affecting us now. and we think that it's a detriment, but yet it's here for a reason.
Absolutely. I have so often think about the symbol of the yin yang. It's so easy in dualistic thinking. We think we love the sun, and then we hate the night, But the sun and the night are both very equally important parts of a cycle that feeds and supports all things. And so, even as we are in this place of our cycle of maybe being more disconnected from nature, the cool thing that I feel is to look at all of this, look at our government, wars, everything, and actually see it as a part of things. It's actually just even our problems are perfect. Our problems are the perfect opportunities for us to wake up. And so it's easy for us to like kind of go along in like a mild river of misery, but sometimes it takes a tidal wave of shit to like just wake you up and have you go inside. And so that's the way I see where things are. It's like everything's okay. And so even as things get deeper and darker, there is just a lot of there's actually just, I feel like where we are on the earth right now, like there's a lot of like shadow work. There's a lot of pain that needs to be acknowledged and felt. Even with my own music now, I feel like I am a very positive person. I'm all about putting out positive things, but I've noticed that like in my music, it's all about going through pain. It's all about suffering, but coming out of that and transmuting shadow and suffering, and pulling the wisdom out of it, and then moving through it, and then getting into a place where suffering is no longer necessary to teach you. You can just learn without having to suffer.
Do you have you ever been in a spot in your life and where things, because all these concepts, all the stuff that we're talking about, it's really easy to come from this space of like, there's always a positive side to things, and we all just have to focus in that space. And it's very important, and I think it's key. But so many times in life, like when things are just terrible and miserable, and you're stuck in a space of just, shit, time and time again, it's really hard to see that positive side of things. Right. It's really hard to be in that space.
Yeah, that's a really cool thing about art, is sometimes you really just need to back off from shooting yourself from, should you be somewhere else? No, you are here for a reason. And so I think we spend so much time resisting what is that it actually keeps us stuck. We think we shouldn't be here. And so we never can move through it. We just get stuck with it. And so it's so cool for music to be able to to reflect people back to themselves, give them space to be like, you know what, that's where I'm at. You know what, it's okay. It's okay. Like I actually have this song called Just Not Today, and it's like sometimes you'll get there, but just not today. Not today. And you just need to sometimes you have to like relax and take off all of that guilt, shame, pressure, and just allow yourself to be in the experience of where you are. And a lot of times, as soon as you do that, as soon as you accept and acknowledge it, you can release it. It can move through you, and you don't have to stay stuck there.
How much like processing and therapeutic, I guess, in a sense, is writing and music for you, creating all of it?
Oh, it's like writing music for me of all the drugs I've ever done. It's just the highest like I ever feel in life is once I've written something that communicates an idea. I don't know what it is, but the high after that is just like, just sends me up into the clouds, dude.
Do you have a sense when you're writing stuff? Because you talked about how, when you're writing or when you're working, you'll get goosebumps and you'll kind of use that as the guide as far as like, I know that I'm onto a good path or I'm creating something that's going to be good.
For sure. Do
you ever have a sense of, because this was the neat thing too, when we saw you perform on Monday, you sang a couple of songs. You sang more than a couple of songs, but there were a couple of songs, and then the ones that you started off with, like, and I have to apologize because I don't remember the titles of them, but it's like the one that's about synchronicity.
Yeah, it's called synchronicity.
So there's that one, and then burn bridges. So you start singing those songs, and my wife and I are sitting there we're standing in the audience and we're listening, and like they were applicable to not only our life, our relationship, but also where we were currently at in the space of things that her and I have been processing and talking about and experiencing, you know, over the past few months, not only as a couple, but also as individuals, and a whole bunch of different things. And so, like, the profoundness of your words coming out in those moments affected us greatly just in that little tiny experience. Like, do you ever have that realization, or do you ever get to see that component to it?
Absolutely. The only album that I've released so far is like almost 10 years old now. It's called This Life. It's on Spotify if you care to check it out. But I actually just went through maybe the long dark night of my soul. Just recently, you know, I thought 2017, let's knock this out of the park. It almost knocked me out of the park. It's
been a shitty year so far.
Yeah, just really intense. Like I've just done a lot of shadow work, had to face parts of myself that desperately needed to be acknowledged, healed, and released. But I got to just randomly, I listen through to it, because, you know, after a while, artists are always evolving, and I couldn't even stomach that album for a second. And then I was like, all right, it's okay. But I listened to the songs, and it was like I was singing to myself. There was like, I needed to hear so many of those songs, and it was like I wrote these songs knowing, I don't know, there's just like
there's that beautiful aspect, right?
Like, yeah, where it was just a circle, and there was a timelessness to like some of those messages, and me being as low as I was, I needed to hear myself from 10 years ago sing and say some of those things. And so I get what you're saying, and I think that's a beautiful thing about music. And what I try to approach things with is like, I essentially do pop music, but on the surface, it can just be a pop song, tell a story, but there's layers to it. And just kind of depending on wherever you are, you can pull out of it like whatever you need. It's like concrete enough, but then it's also open enough to where it can be about a lot of things.
That's all the best songs throughout time and history, right? Like, there's stuff that I'll listen to that I, you know, loved back in the day or whatever as a kid growing up and things like that. And then you go back and listen to them, or there's music that, like, I remember my parents listening to, and then you go back and it hits you on a different level and from a different place, and you actually put two and two together sometimes with the lyrics. And I mean, there's so many different varying shades of what something can do and just create.
A gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, that's the best stuff. And I really, some of this stuff that I'm finally prepared to release, some of this stuff I actually wrote like 4 or 5 years ago, and it's strange how it feels more appropriate now than when I first wrote it. It feels more, my goal is like, I really want to make music that is essentially timeless, that you know, that just touches real things that are just elements of life, no matter where we are. So
do you ever feel that when you're writing or when you're working, that there's some aspect of you that I don't know, like channeling in a sense? And like, when it comes to channeling, we can get way crazy and off the deep end with it. And some people, like, my opinion is, I think that in a sense we're always channeling, we're always connected to some source of energy, but whether or not we think that we're channeling some other being or some other energy force or life force or whatever the case may be. But do you ever feel like there's times when you're performing or writing or working or something like that where you're kind of outside the process and you're just watching it?
For sure. I kind of think that like most good art is totally channeled. Like, we're being channeled. I'm not thinking about anything I'm saying. Like we're being thought. It's like us, but it's also like there's this universal mind. Whenever I'm writing and I'm thinking, it feels so wrong to me. I have to take a step back. Like, if I'm ever just if I'm banging my head, that is the vibe of not being in tune or like with flow. And any times we're trying too hard. Some of my best stuff is stuff with my writing process. A lot of times I just kind of have to move. Like, I just kind of move and then like just open my mouth and like random stuff comes out, but it's not random. So to answer your question, I feel like I'm channeling. I've never been like I'm channeling the Zordon from the 8th dimension. Though I've read tons of books that are channeled.
Yeah,
fascinating stuff. But I just kind of feel like I'm channeling my higher self, and I feel like before writing sessions, I often will just set my intention, and I'll invite any spirit guides, angels, even extra dimensional entities who serve in unconditional love.
So you get into all that good stuff then.
Yeah. I'm very open. There's something like I actually don't have any visual verification of it, but I just feel some vibes influence me, and I can just tell if they're like loving and good or not. And so I invite those. I invite spiritual assistance, and I think I get it.
Have you always felt that kind of stuff, you think?
As I've gotten older, it just opens up and like it evolves.
Can you remember times as a kid though? Because I think a lot of times when we can go back and remember things from our childhood where it's like,
yeah, I think I was truly a very peculiar kid, but my memory is very I don't know. I feel like I kind of experienced I had to like overcome some energies of feeling silenced, or feeling like, I always questioned things. I was always really just really outside of the box in a lot of ways, and and I think I kind of shut down a little bit to certain aspects of myself. But I think as I've gotten older, I've been reconnecting. In fact, recently when I went through some of this like heavy crap, with the first part of this year, I did some hypnotherapy sessions and actually did some work with my inner child. And my inner child was actually kind of sad and stressed out. So I'm like, you're a kid. Come on, get it together. So like I had to do some stuff, and it seemed to like really, really totally help. But yeah, I think children, we kind of come into as like just an open consciousness. And so I think we can perceive and interpret energy well outside of the thin sliver of visible light that we're all taught to focus on and treat as the only real thing. But
I totally think kids, like babies specifically, can see energy very, very clearly.
Absolutely. And so then we kind of condition it, and we tell we put on the blinders and the limiting beliefs, the core limiting beliefs of our society.
Mm-hmm. So we can fit in again.
Yeah.
So not to carry that.
Yeah. And but as I get older, I've been doing like some pretty intensive meditations, and I feel like I'm going through this process of opening up my perceptive abilities. But for me, the most thing for me is like I'm very clairsentient, I think is what they call it. My body is just like a real time, like several times during this thing, you vibrated the shit out of me, like just a vibe. So when I experience my own truth and beauty, it doesn't have to be for anyone else. It's just my own truth, beauty, something that I need to pay attention to. My whole body just feels like waves of, gives me chills all over. It's the way I write, but it's very real time. Like when someone says something that I need to be paying attention to, my body tells me. And so I feel like everyone kind of has that ability.
I think they do in one way, shape, or form, right?
Yes.
Like you talk about how your body, you feel it, and you have a physical sensation associated with it. I keep going back to when we were watching you perform, just because it was kick-ass, it was good stuff. But we're watching you up on stage, and my wife is really, really good about seeing energy. And for me, if I practiced it more, I would do better. But I can see things at times and whatnot. So she leans over me and she's like, "Can you see them?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" It took me a minute because I was spaced out listening to it. And then it dawned on me. And then I started to watch you. And I'm sure that she saw the same things, but I could see your aura very, very clearly all the way around you. And it was big. Like a lot of times when you see, or when I see energy around people or somebody's aura, what I would, describe or classify as their aura, it shifts and changes, and sometimes it grows in size and like intensity. But yours was super big, super bright, and it was real. Like I had fun just sitting there for a minute watching it, and it alone kind of outside of your performance, just watching your energy go and all that kind of stuff. And that's good stuff.
Wow, I've never seen my aura myself. I'm actually just starting to see, like, when I meditate, close my eyes, I'm starting to see like the very light colors of my chakras, like as I rise, as I meditate on each one. Because I actually want more of a visible connection with a spirit, but thank you. I've done those machine, like Carillion photography and stuff, and I was told that I have a beautiful aura. It's like white lavender was the color it was at the particular time. Apparently it can change and stuff, but yeah, I really feel like who you are as an artist is as important as the art. And like everything that I write and create, like my core frequency is a part of that. And I feel like life has just been I've been working really hard to get to a space where I'm finally ready to like release. And because it's been 10 years since I've really released new music, but I feel like life has been helping me refine my like core vibration. Some of the stuff that I just went through, I feel like as badly as you want to create harmony in the world, if you go out and engage the world and you have core disharmony within yourself, you kind of perpetuate, even unconsciously, that same stuff through everything you like touch and create. And so I really feel like I've kind of been being refined. My like, I don't know, just my energy. I really feel, I've grown to see myself as a healer first before a singer or an entertainer. Like music, and to me, is a spiritual technology that absolutely has profound capacity to do incredible things, scientifically verified. But so I feel like I've just been going through this process of working out any harmonious frequencies, so that when I'm performing and when I am writing, I'm really creating things that are, I don't know, that I think are solidly sound.
How old are you?
I'm 33 years old.
33. The reason I asked that is because like I'm 36. I'm not much older than you are.
Looking good.
But I think that I think we're just complete fools during our 20s. Do you know what I mean? I think that that's such a wonderful time period and you get to experience so many amazing things. But I think on the big grand scheme of things, you're really just still oblivious and ignorant and naive in regards to a whole bunch of different topics and things like that. But what about, so the last album that you released was 10 years ago, and during that time period you've gone through, I'm sure, a multitude of experiences and different things like that.
Several lifetimes, it feels like.
Yeah. What do you think about, because I think about this all the time in regards to anything, whether it's somebody that's an artist or a musician or whatever it is that they're creating or whatever it is that they do, our life always evolves and changes in such a way where we're always right where we're supposed to be, but 9 times out of 10 we can't see that until we have that hindsight vision of being able to look back and see. So all the experiences that you've had over the course of the past 5-10 years, what do you think has been like the greater, grander purpose for it, and what has it been leading you towards? I mean, you mentioned it a little bit, how it's kind of refining your inner.
Yeah, I feel like I'm going towards something. I really just want to live in alignment with like my soul's purpose path, and I think I've just been being healed. Like really, I swear all of life is designed to move towards towards balance and homeostasis. When something is out of balance, naturally, even, I don't know, the parts of myself that my shadow, there are just a lot of things that I had to like confront and heal. I feel like that's been the primary purpose, as well as exploring myself as an artist, getting to know myself. I often will say that I am a masculine expression of the divine feminine. Like I very much, I don't know, I just rep for kindness and compassion. That's just everything to me. But I've needed to do some work on my sacred masculine, my ability to speak up for myself, say what I need, what I want, and stop apologizing. And so a lot of things are just kind of just these experiences have just kind of helped cultivate me as a whole human being. I feel like that's been the purpose. And I've actually been trying this entire time to release music, and I've had lots of different opportunities, lots of really cool collaborations, and I've really learned a lot about who I am. And I feel that I just kind of learned that I'm very much into collaboration. If anyone knows me, they know that I love working with people, blending my energy with theirs, and there's always just a synergy. But it needs to be inspired collaboration. I've tried to invest my time and energy and efforts into people or projects that just weren't of a certain vibration, and it was like pulling teeth, and it pulled me more and more away from myself. I'd get lost and just watered down. And so I went through a lot of that, and I needed to learn how to like really sense and tell when something is inspired or not, especially in terms of collaboration and working with others.
Do you, I totally agree with you. I think that anytime you try to force stuff, regardless whether it's collaboration or, do you know what I mean, even like your own idea or concept or space that you want to move into, an energy that you want to express, when it's forced, man, it just isn't there.
Yeah.
And you see it, right? I mean, I think a lot of times initially it feels good and it looks good, even though if you got real quiet and listened, you'd have that part inside you. It's like, no, you got to go somewhere else. This isn't where it's at.
For sure. I think we do a lot of that. We all have an idea of what we want, and then I've done this quite a bit where I'll force what is right in front of me, try to force it into this idea, and it just doesn't work. And yeah.
Do you carry any sort of I don't know if shame's not the right word, any sort of let's see if I can describe this, and this might be too much. Well, it's not too much for you, but hopefully I'm not calling you out on anything.
No, dude, I'm pretty open book these days.
Do you ever feel like you have this responsibility in a sense with your art and with your music, where it does have the effect that it can have on people, and you have this responsibility in a sense to share it, but yet at the same time that responsibility feels so heavy and so weighted because you can connect and feel kind of the aspect of what it is, and so there's a part of you that may struggle in that space of like, I'm not going to be able to fulfill my end of the bargain in that spectrum of things. Does that make sense?
I think I really genuinely love what I do. And I think, like, you know, I will tell people, wherever you feel natural enthusiasm and passion, that's the universe like highlighting a path for you. And I'm very fortunate to where, like, very much, you know, I really think that work should be play and play should be work. It should be, and when you kind of live in that space, it doesn't take it out of you. I think if anything, I've taken things out of myself just being dysfunctional and and just a heavy human being with stuff I needed to like heal. But music itself, I don't know, dude. It's like what I love. It's carried me through. It's given me something to hold on to, even as I've had so much crap.
But like the crap, like the heavy stuff that you got to move through, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there an aspect of it you think that is like you may, you know, inside not feel like you're good enough to do this or to do that, or do you know what I mean?
So yeah, so I just did a whole bunch of work earlier this year. I really feel like I just went through like a giant shift. I think if you had looked at my aura like just like a month and a half ago, you'd have been like, Jarrett, you didn't have an aura. We're really scared. Are you alive? It's so weird how quickly some of those things can change. Like, you know, those moments, butterfly, the seconds in between where you're just goo, and then no one knows that the next logical step is a butterfly, y'all. That's really exciting news. But yes, I had an addiction to guilt and shame that was born of like childhood experiences and stuff. Like I really struggled. I really struggled with not feeling, and it was very unconscious, because like my conscious self, like I would feel like a self-validated person, but I had this program like that would just kind of rise up, be like triggered, and just come up and just like wreak havoc. If I was getting close to something I thought I wanted, I would totally self-sabotage. I just struggled with, you know, all kinds of addictions and just you know, malfeasance.
What do you think it was at the core of it?
At the core of it was a core belief system that felt like I was not worthy, and I didn't, that I needed to hide myself. At the core of it was an emotional addiction to guilt and shame, but it took on, the surface of it looked very different from time to time, depending on where I was in my life. But that's what I had to heal and like release, and I feel like I did. And as soon as I did, it's so weird. I just felt so much lighter, and like even that show you came to, I felt like it was my best show. Yeah, just because I just felt so good. I feel like you can only love and offer love to the degree that you feel love for yourself. And so me having worked through some of these things, that really gave me pause and gave me struggles with my self-love game. Having like healed some of those things, I just feel like I have a greater capacity to exude love and just be love. And that's what excites me about where I am in life right now.
I think it's so common. Like, unfortunately, I think it's a really common thing that people go through, and I think it's real common for men to go through it. I know for me personally, it's some of the same stuff that I've dealt with and had to kind of, you know, recognize and kind of process and evaluate and work through in all sorts of different avenues and aspects. Because, I mean, like you said, like self-worth and self-love and shame and fear and all these kind of things that resonate down at the bottom, like are the core things that all of the things stem from. Mm-hmm. To get to those things, you kind of have to wade through all the different aspects of how they'll manifest and all the different ways throughout your life where, yes, you know, you took them upon in some way, shape, or form, and this is the behavior that stemmed from that. And eventually you'll get down to the core of it. And like for me, I'll get to the core of those things and I'll feel very, very much peace and harmony and happiness and light. Like, you know, you just feel like so much weight's been lifted off and you can move more freely. And then time goes by, and undoubtedly it will get back to points where some of those things start to come up and creep back. And I mean, for me, that's always been the thing where I have to constantly remind myself in the aspect of almost everything that I do, just in life in general, it's just a practice. And so I'm just continuing the practice of whatever it is, right? It doesn't matter.
Absolutely. I think all of life can be reduced to a wave, you know, rise and a fall, rise and a fall, and things come in waves. I've the same energy. About 2 years ago, I went through another, like, just huge triggering of it. I felt like, you know, I actually thought that was the hardest time in my life, but little did I know, 2017 was still coming.
Just about the time you say it, huh? Then you're like, oh.
And so I actually dropped off a good chunk of it, and I thought it was good. But then as I look back now, I can see that my life after that, while it was improved, I could still see evidence that there were still layers of that guilt and shame by just what was in my life and what I was willing to accept, or because it really affects like your core. Like you know, I really feel like you kind of attract what you fundamentally think you deserve. And so looking at the things that I had, that was kind of, it was still a little bit of a mixed bag. But after this last thing, it feels like it's like this. No one can see this, but it's just like what are these? I don't have the technical terms, but it's just like you go higher, then you up, down.
Peaks and valleys.
Yeah, but then you go even higher. So like whatever this is, it definitely feels like even clearer than I thought I was, like, you know, 2 years ago when I had a major shift. And so I think that's kind of what's happening. We just kind of go through life, and life is innate. There's an innate intelligence that I think the personality of all of life, there's something that we're not being given more than we can handle, and we're given just enough that as soon as we're ready to deal with it, something will happen that will trigger it. And so back in November, I had a relationship just completely that I was so sold on and wanted to hold on to and projected into my future. It totally just kind of imploded, like very, very, very quickly. A lot of my core, the things that gave me a sense of safety and security, they were just ripped away from me. Yeah, even with my career, I wasn't making money as easily as I was. So that relationship was gone, but all of these things came and all they did was trigger. Like all of it was just like, it was like the trigger show, and like everything, everything was just triggering my bullshit. And it's like, usually you can ignore this stuff if you have enough of the like good things to like keep yourself distracted with. But it was like, I felt like the universe was just like, nope, this is the time to really get into it and like go through it. And so I just had to face that part of myself. It was really scary. And
It's super scary. Like,
yeah,
it's terrible at times.
it is. Like, there's, as bright as my light is, my shadow is just as dark. And so I was very fortunate to have friends and family who really were just there for me in the most amazing way. For me to be broke and just going through some really hard stuff, I simultaneously felt so abundant in like love and support from my friends and family. And the whole combination of it really helped me restructure a lot of things within myself. I feel like life was trying to help me rewire my sense of security. You know, I felt like as long as I was making this much money, being able to do this, pay my bills, and that's where my sense of safety and security was from. But no, I felt like I had to go even deeper than that and find an inner security. And I think I have. And it's just like, so from that space now, I feel like I turned a corner, and now like, I just went from like extreme struggle, and now things are just starting to feel like extreme alignment, like synchronicity, like just like surrendering and knowing that in every moment of my life, I've actually had exactly what I've needed, so I can trust and just wake up every day and just kind of do what feels right. Take care of myself, self-love, self-care, but just take it a day at a time. And as I've done that with meditation and a lot of these other things, and really getting into I just feel like I just switched into like a higher octave of like consciousness or something, where I felt like, you know, I really feel like the first act of my life just kind of ended at 33 years old. And I feel like I'm just starting into this new phase, and just the energy of it just feels so different. I'm learning to live in alignment and to acknowledge flow and try to stay in a place of flow.
What kind of stuff do you do? So outside of like meditation, and what other kind of things do you try to incorporate or work with or bring awareness to?
I do quite a bit. I just depending on, I mean, meditation is probably actually one of the main things. I've most recently come into some meditations by a guy by the name of Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's a neuroscientist, but these meditations, they're guided meditations, they take me so deep. And then he has this thing called the field, which I really think is like just the subconscious mind or universal mind. And you just kind of meditate into that place, and then you just kind of drop in an intention, and then you charge it. Intention is electrical, like thought is electric, feeling is magnetism. And together they combine to create an electromagnetic signature that you project out into the universe, but you just surrender it. And I've been doing this and having really trippy, crazy experiences. Like
what?
Like a month and a half ago, I wanted to go to Coachella, but I was just coming out of like, crap town, and I didn't have a whole lot of money, but I wanted to go to Coachella. I dropped it in and let it go. And then like 2 days before, I got a free VIP ticket to Coachella. I wanted to manifest like a real manager, and I feel like that relationship has begun. Just a lot of things like I don't know, I just drop it in there and then just let it go. And,
are you taking the time to, because I think this is another thing, and when I say, the only reason I bring it up is because it's shit that I do all the time. Like I rarely take the time to sit and look at all the things that I've accomplished and all the things that I've moved through and all the ways that I've shifted and changed, you know, not only like on a, 5 years ago, but even like 6 months ago, 3 months ago. Like every day that goes by, I feel like I'm continually evolving into not a better person, just in a just in the evolutionary point of moving forward, right? I'm just continually moving forward. But what I have to force myself to do and be reminded that I need to do is take time to go back and look and see everywhere that I've come and all the places and all the different things that I've done and achieved and succeeded at, in a sense.
Yeah, I actually more recently have felt really drawn to journaling. I'm dating, or I'm seeing someone right now who's really into it, and so she journals. She does automatic writing. Which are you familiar with that? Yeah, Conversations with God is like one of my favorite books of all the things I've read. So I've been trying to do that in the morning, just waking up and just letting my mind just like, it's actually part of the Artist Way as well, which is like this series to help artists connect with the flow. So journaling feels like something that I need to do. In fact, I've been writing down what I put into the field just to kind of keep track, because like I kind of feel like I don't have the best memory ever, and for a long time I feel like I was just repeating things. I was like, I'm doing this, like, and I felt like I gotta just to help give some space. I feel like so much of growth is like being able to see and establish patterns. And a lot of times, if the patterns are unconscious, they can just do whatever they want, like whenever they want, and you're just a slave. And I think as soon as you start to see a pattern, I'm doing this again, and maybe this is tied to this. I think beginning to see that and giving yourself tools to be able to like express that is like, it's kind of half the battle. And I think as we go through, really what we're doing is just trying to make our unconscious conscious. Like I've just had a lot of unconscious things like totally kind of wreak havoc with myself. And so over time, I've just had opportunities to like bring all that stuff up to the surface and not judge it. I've actually found that the way that I move through these things is actually by allowing myself, just being like, for some reason, I want to do this. And you know what? Right now, I'm just gonna do it. Just gonna do it. And when I'm there, I'm gonna be there. Like even I would go and do things that maybe I shouldn't do, but I would go there and then be thinking about how I shouldn't be there. So it's it's like you're not present, and so you stay in like this loop. And for a lot of the things, I just needed to allow myself to go there. Like for some reason, this is what I'm wanting to choose, and then really wanting to. Then when I went into it, I had to allow myself to be there, not actually be like kind to myself and be present in the shit.
Even if it's a bad decision or something like that.
Yeah, especially if it's a bad decision. Like so I think it seems counterintuitive, but by being kind to myself and allowing myself to like just do whatever I felt to do, I was able to like move through some of those things. And it's very strange. As soon as I addressed it with the right energy, it's like it just fell away, quite effortlently.
Yeah. No longer an issue.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times when, because people feel like they get stuck in routines and patterns, right? And 9 times out of 10, we're always going to label those negative in some way, shape, or form, where I'm always stuck and I'm repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again. I'm just in this endless loop of shit that I can't seem to break free from. I think the reason that we do that, I think it's a very much like not even a subconscious thing, but I think it's ingrained in us to repeat patterns. Because I think it goes all the way back to like when we were cavemen and we had to survive and life was simply fight or flight, and we forced ourselves out of that space into a space where we felt safe and secure, and we did everything that we could to repeat that all the time. So, when you go from running and surviving on a daily basis from the environment and from the things that can kill you, and then you finally get to a point where you can create safety in a sense and calm, then we continually try to repeat that over and over and over again. We want to recreate that feeling all the time. And so I think that's where that ingrained aspect of just continuing patterns over and over again. But because we had this like a wave, you described life moving in that kind of peak and valley sense where we go from a fight or flight instinctual way of living to surviving and having a peaceful, existence to a certain extent, but just continually up and down. And so we're on that crest and that wave now where, we recreate chaos and drama and things in our lives, but eventually we'll go back to that place where it's peace and harmony and all that kind of stuff. But,
yeah, I think if you kind of look at, there's some things happening right now where I think as humanity is going through a shift, very much the part of where we are now is just, evolution is a destructive process. There are things that like we must die to. We must die to. We must burn bridges. There are some things that we have to let go of, and we can't even begin to let go of them until we face the truth of them. And so very much the energy right now is kind of chaos. There's a lot of stuff, but this chaos is kind of what we need, and it's very much a wild card energy. It's just like anything can happen at any moment, like Trump winning the presidency, like everyone freaked out, but I was like, all right, this is interesting. This is like something is off, and it's maybe that's on.
Exactly. Like almost the state of the world was to a point where, it wasn't that shocking.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, this is where we're at, where this is actually happening.
Yeah. And so just the energy is like, I don't know. It's just causing us, it's just forcing us to like wake up, take notice. We can't just put our heads down and go to the mall like we did in the 90s, early 2000s.
It'd be nice though.
Yeah, right. To like just relax into carnal security. But it's just really a time where we just get to wake up and realize that like we are the masters of our own experiences, and that we can, so I really think that all of this stuff is happening from a metaphysical, like overarching point. It's exactly right on. It's just right on target. As these things occur, it just causes people to go within. And I feel like the real transition that's happening now, the real revolution, is not going to be people fighting like externally. It's going to be realizing that like we have to go within and kind of heal home first. If we're honest, we can look at the world that we may not feel a part of, like the world is at war. But I think if we all look within ourselves, we can find a war within ourselves, that there's something that we're battling. These are all like symptoms of we're all like, it's all a hologram. So I think we can do very profound things just by first taking attention within and kind of like taking responsibility for ourselves and what we're putting out. And I think that has a far more powerful impact on the collective than we may realize. And that's the very cool thing about music. You can just kind of empower people and train people into peace, from feeling and living from the heart, having empathy, compassion, and kindness, feeling interconnected to things, and by embracing these energies, it kind of gives us like there's a space to just to allow healing to happen.
It's good stuff, man.
Thank you, brother.
You feeling like 2017's kicked your ass enough now?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I think it's one of those like it's like half and half. So I think I'm getting to the right half of the half.
It's so funny. Like every year, we always think that this is going to be the year, or it seems like okay, I got through that year. Like for me, 2015, 2016. Just terrible.
Right.
Just absolutely horrible things that I had to go through and experience. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, 2017 is going to be great. And then no.
But then it was almost like 2017 was like a crash course of the past two years. Like things that I learned, I got like just real fast. Like I got touchdown and be like, remember this, remember that, remember that, remember that. And then also take one more. Just for fun.
Yeah, it's like the reminder of all the things that you've learned and grown and evolved through.
Yes.
And congratulations, you did a great job of all that shit. Now we're going to give you one more before we send you out the door again.
Yeah, that's the way it's felt.
Yeah.
That's the way it's felt. So but yeah, I'm feeling I have the feeling that like there's still I think there's always just going to be things to grow and evolve through, but I'm very much excited. And I think when we get to that space of like no longer struggling against struggles. Like really just kind of the more quickly we can acknowledge that like there is a purpose here. What can I learn? What can I take responsibility for and move forward with? Like, and I'm just getting to that space. Like a lot of my like crap, I wouldn't wish it on anyone, but I'm already at a place where I'm so grateful for it because, you know, really and truly some of the most difficult things I've had to work through and heal, they're just all in my music. I wouldn't have anything to write about, meaningful to write about if the first third of my life wasn't very, 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 very hard.
Yeah, eventful.
Yeah, eventful.
There you go. Lots of good things.
Dramatic.
Well, man, I can't thank you enough. It was absolutely a wonderful pleasure to sit down and chat with you. What's the easiest way people want to find you, follow you, keep up to date? Hopefully you got new music coming out soon.
Oh, for sure. Very soon. Burn Bridges coming out by Jarrett Burns. You can go to jarrettburns.com. On Instagram, I am Jarrett Burns. You can also find me on SoundCloud, Jarrett Burns, and Spotify. So please reach out, like my Facebook page and YouTube channel, all the things that supposedly connect us.
Yeah, everything that we waste time on.
Right.
We're playing on our phones.
Right. The real connection is the internet, y'all. Like, get it, internet. Seriously. Why are we trying to make a new one?
Yeah.
/ I love it. So.
Well, thank you, man. And everybody go out and have a beautiful, beautiful, wonderful day.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Remember, entheozen.com, nutritional solutions for balancing the mind and body. And when you check out, enter the promo code ENERGYIS and save 10%.
It's so cool for music to reflect people back to themselves. Wherever you feel natural enthusiasm and passion, that's the universe like highlighting a path for you. I feel like you can only love and offer love to the degree that you feel love for yourself.
We met in this world, a blaze of pain. Here I held you, souls from the same. The moments were fleeting. Did I let go too soon? Could I have saved you? Shadows in the room. They say our time is never promised, that this life is all we get. The stillness, there are moments I can feel you in my chest, beating inside me. My heart tells me we are never far apart. Wherever you are, we ain't done yet. 'Cause when I miss you, I feel love, love in a new dimension. And though I miss you, children's laughter filling the room. They say our time is never promised, that this life is all we get. In the stillness there are moments I can feel you in my chest, beating inside me. My heart tells me we are never far apart. Wherever you are, we ain't done yet. 'Cause when I miss you, I feel love, love in a new dimension. And though I miss you, I feel love, can sense you in the air. Though it isn't physical, I feel you everywhere. And when I miss you, I feel love. Love in a new dimension. And though I miss you, I feel love. Love in a new dimension. You left me in sadness, but I know you're smiling. The moment you touch me, leave me crying. When I miss you, I feel love, love in a new dimension. You left me in sadness, but I know you're smiling. The moment you touch me, leave me crying. When I miss you, I feel love, love in a new dimension.